Why, hello. Welcome to chapter 40 and 39. VG had that kind of argument with Arul while they were doing the dishes. And it was pretty tense and they both got emotional. But it seems like in the end, maybe VG had a breakthrough. And she even went to the graveyard with Mutu and Arul. And she said thank you to them for bringing Ruku the flowers. So I'm wondering if maybe she's having a turnaround. Chapter 40, Hope. I'm going to visit a place I'd love for you to see, Selena Auntie told me the next day. So you're excused from attending lessons. I shrugged, like it didn't matter one way or another, but I felt myself flush with pleasure. She had chosen me to go somewhere with her as a special treat. She drove us to a white bungalow, 3 stories high, an oasis of calm in midst of all the noise and bustle. Selena Auntie smiled as she parked the car. This is a school for children like Ruku. Children like Ruku? Anger spurted out of me. No one's like Ruku, I yelled. No one! VG, I put that very badly. Selena Auntie bit her lip. There's no one in the world like your sister. I didn't mean those words to sound the way they did. I'm sorry. I screwed my eyelids tight so no tears would fall out. I have a sister, VG. A sister with a disability. My eyes flew open. We were never as poor as the two of you, but we weren't rich either. She came to this school. It's a school for young people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. For a while, I said nothing, but her words were a key opening my locked heart. Where's your sister now, Selena Auntie? She works at a print shop. She used to have her own little place at the end of the city, but she recently got married and moved farther away. We meet as often as we can. Will you take me to see your sister sometime? Sure. Now, are you ready to go in, VG? Yes, and I'm sorry for yelling. Everyone in the building greeted us with smiles and vanakums. Everyone seemed to know and like Selena Auntie. We were shown into an office. Sitting behind a desk beneath a picture of the Hindu god Ganesha was a wiry young woman. She sprang up and pressed her palms together in greeting. VG, this is the director, Selena Auntie said. Dr. Dhanam. Call me Dhanam Auntie, VG. Come, let me show you around. We followed Dhanam Auntie into a sunny, high-ceilinged room. We stayed by the door, peeking in. A boy around my age was scrawled across the floor, drawing on a large sheet of paper. A little girl of maybe 7 or 8 was playing with colored blocks. In the center of the room, a few children of all ages sat on straw mats on the floor, listening to a silver-haired teacher who sat cross-legged, reading aloud from a picture book. Some of the children looked up at us curiously. You could have been among them, Ruku. A silent flood of tears rushed down my cheeks. No one seemed to notice I was crying, except the girl with blocks who marched over to me. Don't cry, she commanded. Come and play with me. Thanks, I said to her, trying to swallow my sobs and hold my voice steady. I'll come play for a bit. Why are you thanking me? Her forehead wrinkled in confusion. I didn't give you anything. I was sad, and you made me feel better. I made you better? Her face glowed like a moon and her plump cheeks dimpled. I made her better, she announced to Danamanti. Who is she anyway? This is Viji, Selina Auntie said. I am Lalitha. Come. Lalitha took me by the hand and led me to a shelf full of painting supplies. Let's paint, she decided. We must put newspaper on the floor so it doesn't get messy. The two of us spread out the paper and we started working. At least I did. Lalitha selected a brush and chewed on its end thoughtfully. I dipped my brush in the paint and tried to draw a yellow circle for the sun. Lalitha was watching, which made me nervous because I wasn't the best painter. The lines I drew for the sun's rays came out pretty wobbly. I dropped a bit of blue paint on the bottom by accident, so I smeared it and made a river. Across it, I painted a bridge. On the bridge, I painted 4 stick figures. What's that? Lalitha put her finger on one of the figures. A person, I said. You are a person. I am a person. She wagged her finger at me. That is not a person. It's the best I can do. What are you going to paint? I can paint well, Lalitha said. Watch. She swished her brush around on the paper, making a great yellow blob at the top right corner. Is that the sun? I asked. No, Viji. The sun is outside. This is just a big yellow dot. Right. I smiled. So we painted dots and lines and all kinds of shapes. We made a mess and had just as much fun cleaning up, skating on the wet floor after we had mopped. That was the best painting class ever. That was the best painting class ever, I told Lalitha when it was time for me to leave. Thank you. Come back, she said, and I'll teach you more. On the way home, I asked Selina Auntie, can I go back there again? Maybe work at the school? Sure, Selina Auntie said. I may be able to arrange for you to assist the teachers when they need an extra hand. Maybe with reading or writing or art. And maybe someday you could even teach there. Since you had gone, I hadn't given a thought to my dream of becoming a teacher. Selina's auntie's words made my dream glimmer again, faint and far away, but not lost. Chapter 41, Bridges. Let's go for a walk, Arul said when he returned from his lessons at the carpentry shop that afternoon. Can't, Mutu scowled. I have the right. I want to be rude to my teachers 100 times. Why, Arul said. What did you do? This morning, Priya Auntie said, if a fruit vendor asks us for 20 rupees and we give him a 50 rupee note, what would we have left? And I said that was a silly question because if a vendor asked us for 20, I wouldn't give him 50. I'd bargain him down, not to give more than he asked. And she got mad. But I said it was just as important to learn how to bargain as it was to learn subtraction. All the other kids agreed with me, but that only made her more mad, and she gave me extra homework. Arul started lecturing Mutu on staying out of trouble, but I grinned at Mutu. It was good to know he was getting his spark back. When I recognized where Arul was heading, I stopped, but he wouldn't let me turn around. Soon, we arrived at the fancy house where Kuti lived now. He was out in the yard. Kuti's coat shone with cleanliness, sparkling in the sunshine like a silk sari. We watched him through the gate, playing with the girl. The gardener was nowhere to be seen. Prava threw a ball, and he leaped and caught it midair. She patted him, and he licked her hand, looking at her the way he used to look at you. What's the point of this trip? I said to Arul. To show me Kuti doesn't miss the Ruku anymore? But before I could stomp off in an angry huff, Kuti raised his head and galloped toward the gate, barking madly, his tail wagging so fast it almost disappeared from view. Prava ran after him, and when she saw us, she swung the gate open. Kuti bounded over, placed his paws on my knees, and pushed me off balance. He'd grown so much larger and stronger. We collapsed together, his tail thumping me. Viji! The girl surprised me by remembering my name. You don't look nearly as scruffy as you did the last time, she sounded disappointed. What happened? Changed my line of work, I said. Where's Ruku? She couldn't come. I buried my face in Kuti's fur. He smelled clean and fresh. Want to see the bed I made for Kuti in my room? Prava asked. I give him dog biscuits every day, and I wash him once a week with a special dog shampoo. Dog shampoo? They not only had special biscuits for dogs, but even special shampoo? Come on, she said, I'll show you. We don't have time now, I said, because I was afraid her mother might not want me in her house, even though she was kind and I was a lot cleaner than I had been. And it was enough to see that Kuti was doing well. Kuti put a paw on my foot, like he was telling me to stay. But I scratched Kuti behind the ears and got up. Go, Kuti, I said. Go on home. When will you visit again? Prava asked. Sometime, Arul said. Sure. As we walked away, Kuti gave a little whine, but he didn't try to follow. He knew where he belonged now. I thought you would like to see how happy Kuti is, Arul said. You visited him before? I asked. Just once, Arul said. Long enough to show me two things, Viji. That he still loves us. But love doesn't stop him from living and moving forward. Because that's how life moves. On the way back, we visited our bridge. We looked for the spot where we had pitched our tents, but we couldn't tell the exact place. A cool breeze stirred the river as the sun sank down in the sky. We should get going, Arul said. Just a bit longer, I said. Part of me felt that if you could still talk to me, this was the place where I would hear your voice loud and clear, here on this bridge, which is the closest we had had to a happy home. I whispered your name again and again, but you never replied. Or maybe I just didn't hear. All I heard was the river slapping against the bank endlessly. It's getting really late, Arul said. Come on. Selina, Auntie, and Mutu were standing in the front yard, peering up and down the street into the gloom. Mutu waved wildly as soon as he spotted us returning. And Selina, Auntie, practically ran to the gate to let us in. Thank goodness you're here at last. What kept you out so long? Told you they'd be fine, Auntie, Mutu said. Why were you so worried? Because this is the first time Akka and Arul have ever been out on their own in the dark without me or something? That must be it. She tousled his hair and smiled at us. But please, next time you want to stay out late, warn me so I don't get scared. I promised I wouldn't. And I thought about Selina, Auntie, and Mutu's concern. It felt good to see them feeling happy that we were back safe. For the first time since we had left the bridge, I had the feeling I had come home. Okay, so these two chapters were kind of the chapters of visits, right? So you can choose one of the two questions, and I want you to use ingredients. And the first question you can answer is, why do you think Selina, Auntie, took Viji to the special school for children with disabilities? Do you think the visit will be helpful? Or why did Arul take Viji to visit Kuti and the bridge? Do you think that visit will be helpful? So both chapters, it was a different character taking Viji to see something. And I'm wondering why they did that and how you think that might help Viji. Okay, thank you so much, and I can't wait to read your responses.